it's infectious. The fun that they're having whilst making this music it rubs off on me, and I have fun along with them listening to it. To the point where I'm dancing in my kitchen, making my dinner, you know? W to the E to the L to the C to the O to the M to the E to the B to the A to the C. Welcome back. Hip-hop is something I'm yet to really properly talk about on this channel, and that's because it's a very small percentage of what I listen to on a regular basis. But that said, I do really like it. I don't often find new artists particularly who really grab me. Maybe one or two songs from an artist here or there, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but then I never think about it again. But now I've discovered Joey Valence and Brae.
Spit you out like Jurassic. Oh, no, for the rigmarole, we kick pros, stub toes.
And Holy Trousers.
I got you scared, don't piss your trousers.
Now, this was a suggestion from, not a viewer this time, from an actual friend of mine. I do have real friends in real life, believe it or not. Because I sent her a new song of Pendulums, being Napalm, which features Joey Valence and Brae.
Mind control, break your jaw, heat them up, break the law.
I didn't know who they were at the time, and she obviously listened to the song and said that she really enjoyed their music. I'm like, okay, I've not really checked them out. And she said that I should, so I did, and holy
trousers, step into the scene. No, nobody can do it like me. Zoop house plate with the kick cuisine.
I was very, very impressed.
Yo, power like Ranger, range like Rover, strong bulldozer.
Thank you, Lucy. So, I have been listening to their two albums, being Punk Tactics and No Hands. Now, both of these albums I think are absolutely amazing. Punk Tactics was released on September 8th, 2023, and No Hands was released on June 7th, 2024. So very, very recent music. I am finding recently that I'm discovering a lot of very recent music that I'm really, really liking. That's, I don't want to say outside of what I normally listen to, but like my usual lane is new metal, for the most part. And I'm discovering, I'm kind of veering off into slightly related but different lanes lately, and really finding a lot of stuff that I enjoy. And these guys are a perfect example. Perfect example.
Break down the door, we arrive on site. Everybody wants to know if they're doing it right. Let's start a fight, 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 let's start a fight. Fight!
One thing that I like about them, straight away, as soon as I heard them, is that they do sound a lot like the 90s in general. Like the early 90s, boom bap, hip hop stuff, Beastie Boys, who I was never a massive fan of, I'll be honest. I like them in spirit, but I find their voices kind of annoying. And these guys kind of have a similar spirit, just with less annoying voices. Like they have huge fat beats.
Go! Whoa! Ready, set, go! I got the flow to make the girlie say, oh! Okay!
And not just boom bap hip hop, like at that tempo, like what you expect. Like they do kind of veer off in different directions.
I am so fresh and so clean. I am bitch like what you mean. Listen very close, let me make it very clear. When I say move, I best see motion. Now make it pop. Now make it pop. Now make it pop.
And they make some sort of more like typical club, almost dance songs. It's really cool. They considering another thing, I'm already getting way ahead of myself, but these guys are like in their early 20s, like 22 or something, despite the skill and the way they sound. I would have assumed they were in the at least late 20s, but no, these are, from my perspective, almost kids. But they're so good.
You know we came to draw bombs. I came to the song. We came to draw bombs.
Like I said, I discovered them through Pendulum, and through doing a little bit of research, they apparently opened for Limp Bizkit.
Smooth mover, deadly with maneuver. Kill Bill, samurai, run the right through ya.
You don't shut your mouth. I'ma shut it for you.
going back a couple of years now, but they opened for Limp Bizkit. That gives them instant credibility as far as I'm concerned. Wargasm, another obsession, a genuine obsession of mine, also opened for Limp Bizkit. So that's something they already have in common. They worked with Tara Reid, who, if you don't know, Tara Reid, he's a pretty interesting rapper and used to go under the name Getter, used to produce dubstep, maybe still does, I don't know, honestly. But yeah, Tara Reid they've worked with, and Z-Trip, or Z-Trip, for you Americans, I guess, and Danny Brown. The song Punk Tactics was the one that hooked me, and I think it's the same for a lot of people. It seems to have gone viral somewhat.
Spicy like pepper, 1-2-stepper, laid back, motivated, money go getter.
And according to Wikipedia, the music video was shot entirely on a Nintendo DSi, which, when you look at the crunchy quality of it, that kind of makes sense. But I assumed that it was like a video camera from the 80s or something, because it looked, I don't know if they've put like effects on it or something, but it looked like so authentically in the 90s, but using leftover tech from the 80s. And maybe I'm just so far removed from it that it's hard for me to distinguish one from the other. According to Wikipedia, there's not much to say about them, because they haven't really been around for that long. Like, their first ever release would have been in 2021. I mean, this is probably, in terms of from when the artist started, this has got to be the most recent one I've ever covered on this channel. And it's weird that it should be the first hip-hop artist that I've covered on this channel. I have hinted at my feelings on hip-hop in the past, and it's not a passion of mine, but I do like rapping. I think it's an amazing skill to have, and I like it incorporated into other things, whether it's drum and bass or metal or whatever. Obviously, that's why I like new metal, largely, or rap metal, whatever you want to call it. I like it as a flavor, as something to add to something else. But to sit down and listen to hip hop or rap hour after hour, I don't tend to do, unless it's backed up by really heavy beats like this.
Bust that!
A lot of the time when I'm listening to music, it's either at work or at the gym or cycling. Generally, it's motivation music, like it's giving me extra energy, right? Hip hop is generally a bit too slow and a bit too laid back for me. Like, I need... Those of you who watch my channel regularly will know the kind of intense stuff I listen to. So hip hop doesn't really do it for me in that sense, but for the first time in years, these guys really do. They give me so much energy. Like on Sunday evening, after a reasonably debaucherous weekend, I was a little bit drunk and I was cooking, and I had my headphones on, listening to them, and I was just dancing around the kitchen. Like, no joke, I couldn't physically stop myself from moving to their music, which is again not something that I tend to do with hip hop, is dance to it. I know that is a thing that people do, but generally it never grips me in that kind of way, because it doesn't tend to be energetic enough. If I'm going to dance to something, it's going to be, you know, like drum and bass, for example, or dubstep, like pretty heavy, gnarly, intense stuff, generally speaking. And these guys easily slot into that. I'm so surprised by these guys. And I can see why they've kind of gone viral, because as someone who isn't a massive hip-hop fan, but still appreciates it, the way they've gripped me already so quickly is impressive. Let alone if I was a little bit older than I am now and I was like obsessed with the Beastie Boys, who aren't around anymore, and that kind of music. Like, it's going to be an intense nostalgia trip, or it could just annoy me and I could go, these guys are just ripping off Beastie Boys. Perhaps I could see that perspective, right? But there's also a lot of people who do, like, hip hop is all they listen to, and so these guys are gonna... the point I'm trying to make is that if I'm as obsessed with them as I am, people who are as obsessed with hip-hop as some others are going to be even more obsessed with them. It's like they came out at a perfect time, really. I've felt like... it sounds melodramatic, but like hip-hop is dead, basically, because of mumble rap, essentially. And I know there's other hip-hop out there, there's better stuff than that, obviously. But the trend in the last 20 years hasn't been a good one. and I haven't enjoyed much of what I've heard. New stuff, older classics from the 90s, I do of course enjoy. I had basically given up on discovering any hip-hop that I would ever enjoy again, which again sounds dramatic, but it's not the end of the world for me because it's not a genre of music I'm particularly obsessed with. But discovering these guys and these music videos
Back to the source, walking on the sky, I was born with the force. Don't care about the money. Hoodie up with the strings in a bow. Whip so low, keep the underglow. Get cut, don't do it for the money, I do it for the butt. You cannot compete, you trying to keep up.
I love them. I genuinely love them. I didn't think that in 2025 I would form a love affair with two men, but I have done.
Why are you gay?
And they seem to benefit from the fact that it's 2025 now. You know, they've taken what we now know and things that already exist, like crunchy beats, old hip-hop techniques from the past, but you know, using drum machines and proper hardware, whereas now they're doing it in a very modern way, where it's basically just with a laptop, but it sounds so authentic. It sounds so authentic without the drawbacks of production limitations from the 90s. Essentially, you can do any kind of music you want on your laptop, whether it's hip-hop or psytrance or dubstep or metal even these days, as long as you've got a guitar and stuff. You can do anything you want, and that's the time we live in now. So if you want to make something that sounds authentically like it's from 20 years ago or 25 years ago, you can do that. I like that they are doing that because they're making the most of what we have now and making the most of the nostalgia from that crunchier production time period. I've just noticed their website is www.jvbsucks.com. So that's another thing I want to get into with these guys, is they clearly don't take themselves very seriously. Unlike a lot of hip-hop that I've sort of become acquainted with, a lot of the time they seem so serious and like so gangster. And I much prefer the stuff that's, you know, just making a mockery of yourself. I much prefer that. The fact that you take yourself seriously is kind of boring and predictable. Whereas if you're joking around, generally, I'm not sure what I'm expecting. I'm not sure what tone the next lyric is going to be. And trust me, they have some hilarious lyrics. Something that I related to with these guys straight away, and a thought that I had, but I couldn't quite word it properly, is this quote. Absolutely perfect quote referring to this song, and again, it's unironically a banger. So I think part of the reason why I am so surprised by these guys is because I went in with no expectations at all. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. The only point of reference that I had was the Pendulum song, and they don't really have much of a feature on that song. It seems kind of like a wasted opportunity, if I'm honest, now that I know what they can do. But kind of because of the limited contribution that they had on that song, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, again, I didn't know how old they were. I didn't know how long they'd been around. Like, I'd never heard of them before, but you know, who knows? I think I started listening to Punk Tactics whilst playing Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 on my PC, here, as I'm sat now. And as I'm playing, I'm like, this is good. This is really good. Oh my god, this is amazing. Like, it increased as each song goes along. I'm like, this is better than the last one, and this is better than the previous one. I don't think I've found a song of theirs yet that I don't like, on 2 albums, and one EP, bear in mind, but I'm not much of an EP guy. The fact that they have 2 albums, 2 very recent albums, is a similar experience with Nova Twins. If you watch my video on them, you'll know that if there's 2 albums and I can just bounce back and forth and compare, it's nice not having an overwhelming amount of music to listen to, because then it means what is there I can just listen to over and over and over again and really appreciate it. Unlike diving into Slayer's discography, for example, for someone new, holy crap, what an undertaking. I feel like I've discovered them at just the right time, is what I'm saying. I feel like they've come out at just the right time. I've discovered them at just the right time, and maybe you have as well. Maybe that's why you're watching this video, because you've just discovered them as well, and are looking up other people's opinion. And if that's the case, I share your opinion that these guys are brilliant.
Hello,
My name is Joe. I made a song. Here's how it goes. Think of all the ways that I'm much better. I keep it hot like a turtleneck sweater. I ain't a chump. Follow my rhythm. Follow my flow. Dance to this. Drop your hips. Get low.
So according to Wikipedia, in 2025, the duo released the single Clover in collaboration with a rapper called IDK, which I have not heard. I guess I'll have to check that out straight after making this video. I'll be very interested to see what they do next as an album. I think the two albums they've released they're almost too good. And what I mean by that is that the third album, at least from my perspective, there's a lot of anticipation for this already, and I only started listening to these guys a few days ago. But I don't want to go into... I'm assuming they're making a third album, because, you know, why wouldn't they? They've exploded with just 2 albums. And I don't want to get too excited about the third, but they have been so incredibly consistent that I can't really see it not being good, you know? I'm just amazed, I've got to be honest, that these children, as far as I'm concerned, have made a millennial like me, who doesn't really care that much about hip-hop, really care about hip-hop. Like, I want to go back and like, maybe try and listen to Beastie Boys again to appreciate them now, because they're obviously a huge influence to these guys, Beastie Boys. But I just never liked them. There's a few songs that I'm cool with, but the voices were just too shrill for me. Just personal, you know, taste, I guess. But I do like these guys' voices. I like their energy. And that's another thing about modern hip-hop. A lot of it's gotten very lazy and like... It sounds like you're rapping like this. You're rapping into the microphone like that. And I'm not going to get excited about that, am I? Like, what would be interesting... Here's an idea. JVB, if you're watching, here's an idea. Make an album of every song being a different genre. Because they clearly can do that. They've experimented with a lot of... Not a lot, but some different genres already. Do one song that's nu metal. Do one song that's dubstep. Do one song that's like pure jump-up drum and bass. Do one that's metalcore. Maybe. Like, I feel like they could do that. Considering the clout they already have in just a couple of years of making music, I feel like they could get some bands on board to collaborate with. I mean, they've got they're going to be on Pendulum's new album, for God's sake. They have clout, clearly. And one thing, actually, that does occur to me, really, one of the first things I thought when I started listening to their music, I'm a huge Prodigy fan, and obviously I'm aware that this is brand new music, but I was listening to it thinking, this sounds like the music that would have influenced Liam Howlett back in the early 90s to make the Prodigy's music. So, if they could get on a Prodigy song, like if I was in contact with Liam Howlett, my dream, the first thing I would have done after hearing like 2 or 3 songs is say, hey, Liam, listen to this. You have to work with these guys. You have to get these guys on one of your songs for the next Prodigy album, which hopefully comes out before I die, because it would be such a perfect matching. Like, their beats kind of sound like the Prodigy a lot of the time. That's, like I said, they're clearly influenced by what influenced Liam Howlett, so it would be a perfect meshing of styles. It's getting me really excited just thinking about that as a possibility, actually. One that really stands out to me is it Like a Punk?
Feeling like a punk. Wake up and I'm feeling like a punk. It's time to rave, it's time to rave, it's time to rave.
Like, that kind of sounds like the Prodigy, in my opinion. And I thought that the very first time, and I think that's probably the one I've listened to the most. Because I keep, like, once it's finished, I'm like, no, I need to listen to that again. Over and over again. It's infectious to me. I really like Start a Fight.
Let's start a fight! 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 Let's start a fight!
Which is almost like a drum and bass song, pretty much. Like a drum and bass punk song. Again, it sounds kind of Prodigy-ish. Punk Tactics, obviously. Like, that was the one that got me on board, so of course that's going to be a favourite.
Alphabet rhymes like chicken noodle soup. Two-door beamer pick you up in the coupe.
Hooligan. is one that I've started listening to more. The video is really twisted. The Baddest. The Baddest is the perfect example of them just going, let's be as dumb and fun as we possibly can be.
I wanna rock right now. I don't wanna go, I want to get down.
Like, mostly these are songs with music videos. They have quite a lot of music videos. I got excited about them before I really sat down and started watching a bunch of their music videos. Obviously, I got on board with Punk Tactics. That was the first thing I saw, and then I just started listening to the music. I don't really care that much about music videos. In fact, sometimes I find music videos a bit distracting from the song. Sometimes it can emphasize the song, but other times it can detract from the song, and if the song is good enough without it, in my head at least, then it's a good song. Like an hour ago or so, I was starting to, doing a bit of research for this video and watching some of their music videos, and they're all so fun. I love the cartoonishness of them. They are like a couple of cartoon characters. I love their spirit. They're clearly having so much fun making this music, and you can feel it. You can feel it in their voices, you can feel it in the beats, and in the music videos. It's infectious. The fun that they're having whilst making this music it rubs off on me, and I have fun along with them listening to it. To the point where I'm dancing in my kitchen, making my dinner, Like I said, I am in love with these guys.
You are gay.
I think they are so much fun. I can't wait to see what they do next. I will be probably reviewing their next album whenever it comes out, probably next week, considering how active they have been for the last couple of years. Once again, this is, like, I've discovered so much music in the last few months. Particularly through this channel, actually, from people suggesting me stuff, and kind of the more people have suggested to me, the more receptive I have become to new stuff. Because if I just get stuck in listening to relatively new stuff I've come across in the last couple of years, I tend to avoid discovering new things, because you get in a comfort zone, right? But because I've been outside of my comfort zone through viewers suggesting stuff, I'm now comfortable getting outside my comfort zone. It's so much fun. I love music, man.
You are gay.
I've been uploading some very long videos recently, and I'm not going to do that this time. This is going to be a short one. But yeah, big fan. I'm really excited for anything they come out with next. If this is the first video of mine that you've watched, this is the first hip-hop related video that I've done. So that's interesting. But if you are already subscribed, you will know that anyway. But either way, thank you for watching. Maybe subscribe to this channel to see what I think of whatever they release next. I'm not going to release any reviews about singles or EPs. If it's an album, I will review it. You have my word. But I've still not thought of how to end videos yet. So, I'm just going to say...
Why are you gay?